Hey guys, how's it going? Thought I'd do another video talking about aftermarket handguards and rails and barrels. A question I often get is, can I put an aftermarket handguard or rail system onto my MWS? And the answer is absolutely yes. I use aftermarket handguards on most of my builds. This one is in fact a real steel Daniel Defense Mark 18 rail, which I just wanted for the realistic weight, etc. And the only caveat being that the stock Tokyo Marui barrel is a thinner profile than your typical AEG barrel or any aftermarket MWS barrel. So you might have an issue where it won't lock up properly with an aftermarket barrel nut. And the simple fix for that is either get a barrel adapter. I think Z Tac makes one. It's a MWS barrel spacer adapter. I'm sure other brands make some as well. I would just stay away from PTS, as those are designed to work with their own handguards and might not provide proper lockup with other rail systems. Another issue, another side mention is a company, I believe it's GBLS, if that's right. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but they make those kind of high-end AEGs that I believe they have electric recoil and some other nice features. They make, if you look on their website, they make barrel nut adapters for real steel rails to airsoft barrels. So that might be an option for you if you want to run, say, a real steel Geissele rail or Daniel Defense. I think they also have one for BCM. Besides that, you can also run an aftermarket barrel. So aftermarket barrels, and so adapters are cheap. Those are, excuse me, that's your cheapest option at about $10 to $20. The GBLS ones, I think more like 30 or so. Other options running aftermarket barrels, those tend to run around $30 to $50, and they come in different kind of flavors. So, there's one piece outer barrels, which I recommend. It's going to be your most solid, secure type of barrel, if you know the exact length that you want. Which, side note, be careful with the aftermarket company quoted barrel length. Sometimes they'll say it's 10-inch, and the way they measure it is not right, and then it'll end up being too short for your handguard. So you might end up needing to add another 1/2-inch or 1-inch spacer or something. Most, I think, are pretty good. I can't think off top which ones have those issues, but that's something to be aware of. I know that Howe makes good aftermarket barrels, and those have been true to size, never had an issue with those. I tend to typically run Z Tac outer barrels. They're one piece, and they make them in both aluminum and steel. I like to run the steel ones because I like the realistic weight on the front end. Some people think it's too heavy, but if you've ever handled real firearms, it's going to feel much better balanced and much more like a real rifle, which I appreciate. Again, that's kind of why I have here a steel Z Tac barrel with a real Daniel Defense rail, just to get that kind of realistic weight up front. So that's a brand I really recommend. There are plenty of others though. I know Tac makes a cheap kit for around $30 to $40, and theirs are more of a two-piece design or multi-piece design, where you have kind of a base barrel and then you can thread on extensions to and they'll give you a kit with different barrel lengths, so you can kind of custom tune the length if you're not quite sure what you need. So that's an option. The other option, which I don't recommend, is 5KU barrels. I'd stay away from them. They're the cheapest at around $12 to $20, so very tempting price-wise, but they are cheaper materials, not as good build quality. You do get what you pay for there. As well as their design is a two-piece, but not threaded. It actually uses grub screws to hold the barrels together, which is just not very secure, and can and has come loose. It's happened to me, it's happened to others, where you're in the game and all of a sudden your outer barrel falls off, and it's because those, using a 5KU barrel, those grub screws just didn't hold it in place well enough. Or say you catch your barrel on, like maybe you have a front side post and that catches on something and then it yanks your barrel out. So for me, unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck with that for now, because it's the only barrel I could find for that particular build that had the perfect length I needed, without doing some custom cutting and custom work on a different barrel, which I might do someday. But since that happened, I just red Loctited it, and it has seemed to hold up. It's held up since then, so I haven't had that issue since red Loctiting those grub screws and just really torquing them down tight. But something to be aware of if you do use those. Just be warned. So I think that basically covers it. If you guys still have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks. Take it easy.